So Amber Guyger was found guilty yesterday.
Thank God.
And we were trying to get Lee Merritt on to talk about it. Yesterday we reached out to him, but his phone was confiscated to go into court because they take your phone apparently.
Depending on the court, yes.
Okay, well he said my phone was out of commission.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get him in because I have many questions, but you're a lawyer, so maybe you can help out in this arena. There was a lot of questions. Clay covered this today about why all of the emails, the text messaging, why it wasn't admitted into the I don't know, what do you call that? Admitted into evidence.
Right.
When trying Amber Guyger, which showed her to be racially insensitive at best, racist at worst. Why wasn't any of that brought in, and why is it coming out now?
Yeah. A lot of times when a judge is evaluating what evidence will be allowed to go before the jury, the judge has to balance a number of things. Number one, is this piece of evidence relevant for the issue at hand? And number two, is the relevance of this evidence outweighed by the prejudicial impact it might have if the jury were to get access to it? So when the judge is evaluating, are you racist in your general life and have you engaged in racist behaviors in your general life? The question is, was that at play in this particular instance? And were the text messages in question of the sort that would have made a difference with this particular case? So in this particular case, because you have a black judge, and I was, frankly, quite privileged to serve as a clerk for a federal district court judge who was a black senior judge. And so seeing the judges' deliberations from the chamber side of things is very interesting because black judges are always under a heightened level of scrutiny. Everything they do is evaluated. In this case, the judge had actually issued a gag order that was violated by the prosecutor, which puts the judge in a position of saying, do I need to declare a mistrial here? And because she has to be so within the line, there's no room for her to really do what white judges would have room to do.
Why is that?
Because of the racism.
Because of thank you. All right. Because I'm thinking she's a judge, just like any other judge. She should have the same rights and privileges and discretion.
Yeah.
At the discretion of the judge, it's my court, and there's a large amount of latitude that a judge can exercise. So,
absolutely.
So is that why this castle doctrine, this stand your ground piece was put in?
So if the jury is asking questions, the judge has to respond to the questions that the jury is asking in a way that is going to guide the jury without pointing the jury in a particular direction. So we want them to know that the North Star is there, but I ain't going to tell you how to get there from where you are right now. That's something the jury has to figure out. One of the reasons it was so important that the judge almost in some ways be seen as bending over backwards, to be fair. And there's a whole lot of imagery that's come out of this courtroom. There was some video that came out this morning that I felt particularly strong about. It really speaks to the continued racialized assessment that we have within the criminal justice space. But the judge has to bend over backwards. You have a black judge, black court staff, 5 black jurors.
5 Hispanic
jurors.
Who are technically black.
That's right. So 10 non-white jurors.
Right.
That's really what we have. There has to be no room for an appeal. There has to be no room for the defense attorney to be able to say, the judge was prejudiced against my client, because they will say, black judges, you can't be fair. You should recuse yourself on issues of race.
We've heard that. Didn't the president accuse a sitting judge of being prejudiced because he was of Mexican descent?
That's right. Because the presumption is within the law that only white people can be objected, because white is the basis against which we evaluate everything else. You had a troll who called in maybe yesterday or the day before who was like, what makes you black? And you gave a wonderful answer. I was like, ding! I gave her a ding in my head, Smith. I don't even remember if you did or not.
You did not.
But
okay.
That... the ability to be neutral is something that is typically reserved for white people. So white judges are never presumed to be biased when it comes to issues of adjudicating race. Black judges are. Mexican judges, in the case of Trump, are. So she has to, and she's a woman. So there's that on top of it, right? So she has to bend over backwards. Every T must be crossed. Every I must be dotted. And if she doesn't do that, it opens up the door for criticism that white judges wouldn't have to take. It opens up the door for an appeal where the defense attorney for Amber Guyger would be able to credibly argue, this judge was unfair to my client, the jury was biased against my client, it's reverse racism. And quite frankly, we're in an environment right now where that type of argument might be entertained.
Interesting. Okay. So the castle doctrine, that stand your ground, all that, just to counter any and people were losing it when that came down, because it was like, oh, they setting the table up for this woman to get off and not, and it was disconcerting until we saw the verdict,
right?
Which was kind of swift. Came back.
It was swift.
Have
they come out with the set of years yet? Has she actually been? Okay.
So I don't know. Somebody in the studio, has there been sentencing? Because we were trying to reach Lee Merritt to talk about whether or not what he believes, because she's facing up to 99 years.
Yeah.
And is it up to the judge?
I believe in Texas, it's up to the jury. That I'm not clear on. Depending on your jurisdiction, the judge may have that capacity. In some jurisdictions, the jury doesn't get to decide your length of sentence at all. They just decide on matters
whether
of guilt or innocence. So I hope we can get Mr. Merritt on the line for some information about the nuances of the case. But there's a lot there. Because
I didn't get to talk to you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Did you see the video this morning of the bailiff stroking Miss Guyger's hair?
Oh my God. So there's a video. Bishop Swan actually posted it on Twitter.
Yeah. Bishop Swan is a
he's the one to follow if you need to know about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
you will know.
You will know. Under no uncertain terms will you find out.
You shall be clear.
Yes. So there's a video of a black woman, a bailiff. Mm-hmm. Stroking Amber Guyger's hair. She seems to be emotionally overcome, and basically saying, "Baby, it's gonna be all right," and stroking Miss Annie's hair and just telling her, letting her know it's gonna be all right. Somebody tweeted, she was just telling her, "Gym Pop's gonna be really tough for you." I know. I mean, we gotta try to make humor out of this. It was disturbing.
Yeah.
Very disturbing.
It really was, and it reminded me that that slavery was really successful. Because slavery really was this mental brainwashing process. As much as it was physical, it was mental and spiritual and emotional. And it was really successful. And I often say that slavery was one of the best. It has given white people the best ROI of any investment anywhere, anytime, because it continues to produce dividends in their favor. And that, to me, was just a real life example. So for those of you who haven't seen the video, as you said, it's right after she's been pronounced guilty. And the bailiff is sort of like, there, girl. It's going to be all right, Mr. Am. Us ain't sick. Us going to be well. And it just reminded me that slavery was really about the centering of whiteness and the white entitlement to privilege and comfort, even at the time that we are being faced with death. Even at the time when it's about our abuse. It's how do I center and comfort you, white woman, who walked into this black man's house and shot him while he was eating ice cream. Like probably thinking about the good word on Sunday that he was getting ready to hear. So I mean, like even in that moment, our default is to center them, which is why when we do our community discussions and black therapy spaces, we don't allow white people present because we are still dealing with internalized white supremacy to the extent that if a white person is present, we can't even often have honest conversations about race.